All right, let's call to order the Joint Green Efforts Committee meeting for December 5th, 2023. I don't think we have anybody on for public comment, but take a quick look.
I do not see anyone on under public comment.
Okay. And we do not have any presentations tonight, so we'll move on to the administrative. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? And if so, can someone make a motion?
Motion.
Thanks, Stacy. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, motion, a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. I don't think anybody's opposed. I heard everybody say aye. All right, moving on to the next one, public education, anti-idling. Kate, I know we traded some emails about a week and a half ago.
Yep.
If you want to give an update.
Yes, I do. So I spoke with Tara a few times, trying to get some dates for us to go over there and count idlers. And she would like us to come, if anyone's available, this Thursday morning at 8:15, Friday morning at 8:15, and Monday morning at 8:15. I can make Friday and Monday. I cannot make Thursday. You know, we don't need a lot of people. She went out today and she said there weren't that many people out there, but they were all idling. And so it's not going to be an onerous job. It's just, you know, getting there, say at 8:10, and you stand out there until 8:25, I guess, when they start dropping the kids off. So it's a very short period of time, and she's going to have like a little check, or you know, some kind of a tool to write down how many cars are idling. So I don't know if anyone who's on the call right now can commit to going Thursday or Friday, or Monday for 20 minutes.
You
Hey,
said
I missed the very beginning. What days?
Oh, sorry, this Thursday morning at 8:10, and then Friday, again, the same time, and Monday, the same time. And I'll be there Friday and Monday. You know, I don't think we need more than one more person, quite honestly. Because if she's going to come out, you know, that's plenty.
I can do Friday.
You could do Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
I could do Thursday.
You could? Is that
Yeah.
you, Johnny? You
That
said that?
is, yep.
Okay. All right. I'll let her know. And the
So
reason-
8:10, how long does it last?
Like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Very simple. So I'll let her know that you'll be coming. Just, you know, go to the office. And then we'll repeat
And
it.
the end game of. Oh, I'm just saying at the end, this may not be a don't idle your car at the end of the day. It might be like, can we open the school earlier because parents need to be there to drop their kids off? Can they be in the cafeteria? Like there's different solutions to a problem. Just a thought.
Yeah,
point.
the contracts with the teachers are going to create a problem because they have
Yeah.
specific time and day.
Mm.
But you know, there are different solutions, but that would be a hard one to work through.
Mm. So what she's going to do, just to kind of synopsize the program for this year, she's not going to go all in this year because she's also going to be teaching them about the composting program that's starting in very soon. So she doesn't want to put a lot of time on anti-idling this year. She's going to do a, you know, kind of a bigger program next year. But what'll happen is these kids are going to make little cards about idling and give them to their parents, just fifth graders. And then we'll go back in January and do another data collection. You know, there's a lot of pitfalls with this. Is not a real scientific study, but I mean, it's going to get basic data. But it at least is going to allow the kids to see a before after, if there's any effect of these little cards or not. are those 6th grade parents out there idling? Are they 5th grade? We're not collecting that kind of data, so we're really not going to know that. But the 6th grade parents this year have gotten that information last year. So, hopefully they remember it from last year, and that learning has, carried over for this year. It remains to be seen. But she's going to show the video I did last year that kind of opened up the anti-idling program before, at the very beginning of, after she gets all the data from these days that we're going to be going, she's going to show that video and then report what the data is at the very beginning of the study so that they know it, going into the next, month or so, until the end of it. So that's the program in a nutshell.
So for Thursday, you said, I'll be there, and she'll give me instructions,
Yes.
what to count, that kind of thing. All right. And then you said you'll be there Friday. Stacy, you as well?
No, Patty.
Patty will be there Friday. Okay. And do we have anybody for Monday?
I'll be there Monday as well. So if anybody else wants to join, that's great. And don't feel like you have to, because I don't want it to, I know everybody's got a schedule.
That's perfect. All right. Any other questions?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, Jay.
Yes. So my question is that there were some emails back and forth about how wise it is to figure out in the morning how many people are idling when the problem is mostly in the afternoon. So I'm close to Union School. I walk by there, and there are many people idling in the afternoon. Is there any thought about figuring out how many people are idling in the afternoon time?
Well, she said at Westwoods, the parents have to park their cars and come to the school to get the kid. So there's no idling happening at Westwoods. Now, at the elementary schools, that's a whole nother story. So it's definitely something worth, moving the program or trying to get it instituted at the elementary schools, because I think that is where a lot of idling is happening. I know down at Noah Wallace, there's cars parked all the way around Hart Street and down, whatever that, I can't think of the name of that street. Anyway, so that's, it's a good point.
So I'm not sure exactly how the other elementary schools, but at Union, many people all the way up Perry Street idle.
Mhm.
And there's always a police officer there when this is all happening.
Mm.
And it would seem to me that if on a particular day, if the police officer at every elementary school could walk up the line and park cars and explain to people that they shouldn't be idling, that might have a better effect than checking people in the morning.
Well, this is like an educational process for the kids to learn about how to, one, do basic experimentation, to run an action, so to speak, which, is anti-idling program. And that's why they're doing it at this grade level, 5th grade, because it also is part of their, the Earth Sciences curriculum. So they're going to be studying all of this, the kind of why we get, what happens when fossil fuels are burned. So that's why this is happening right now at Westwoods, but it's something that really should expand. I mean, all the signs are at different schools. I mean, the anti-idling signs are at Union. And, there should be a follow-up with that. I think it should be an extension of this program.
Right. And I don't mean to interfere with the Westwoods program, because I think it's good. I think it's good for the kids.
Right.
And I think it's good for us. But to stop idling, it needs to be more than that.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think some of it too is phasing it in over time. It's a lot of different steps. And with how active and involved Tara is with all of these initiatives, Westwoods has ended up being a good school to start at. while we figure out the kinks and what else we can do and what we can implement at other schools.
Yeah.
Because we have a really good partner in Tara.
Oh my gosh, she's unbelievable. And the reason, honestly, that it is going at really kind of a little bit of a snail's pace is with COVID. Tara was told that she can't be too aggressive on this particular action with the parents because they're all stressed out. Now that was, the year before, right? So I think what's now, because she's also bringing in the composting, at least for this year, there's not as big of an emphasis as it was the year that, they did the poster program and we picked the design, and then the signs were made, and those took a while to develop. But we definitely do need to expand it. So, I could reach out to Nancy Nelson over at Noah Wallace and see if there'd be a connection through Noah Wallace. We could, try one of the grade schools. Sorry, my dog is wanting me to get off. But I don't know. What's everyone think?
I mean, I don't
Well,
see any harm
Go
in
ahead.
reaching out to anyone else, but and I think that makes sense. I won't be the Board of Ed liaison starting January, so I can't speak for anyone in terms of how the Board of Ed would move forward. But it might be also interesting to get Sam Kilpatrick's insight as well as the facilities person for the schools.
Well, so I think based on what everyone's saying is that Westwood's parents are parking and having to get out of their cars. But if everyone's lined up on Perry Street for Union School, that might qualify as waiting in traffic. I mean, obviously they're parked, but once school gets out, technically they're in traffic because you're pulling up, getting your kid and leaving, pulling up, getting your kid and leaving. So that's the only thing where Union School is a little different than Westwood's.
I
Right.
think part of it, Jared, is that there are, I see it at all the elementary schools that parents do show up 20 minutes before the end of the school day because they want to be the first one there to get their kid rather than wait 20 minutes after. I don't know. But they do. And so I know what John's talking about. They're just sitting there with their cars on doing what they need to do. So
Yeah, that's where I think the elementary schools is where we need to concentrate. But I think that Westwood's, ultimately the hope is that they would create something that would be shareable for all the schools, right? Aside from the signs, but something more, from an educational perspective. At this point, that's not where it's gotten to. Could we introduce it to the grade schools in another way, that they do something, that they can fit into their days. Again, it's stressing the teachers, it's all of those things, bringing something else in. But I think that, given the signs are there, something needs to happen that really highlights them. Like, why did these why did they show up, right? What are we doing around that? And I'm sure a lot of parents don't even realize they're there.
Sorry, that's my dog. She's not happy someone's home. Or happy someone's home. Could be one or the other. Sorry about that.
All right.
All right, yeah, honestly, it's baby steps, but it's education. John, you had asked earlier, why is it morning and afternoon? I think Kate went through that, but getting the counts and starting to get a little bit of a buzz out of it. It hasn't been tremendously cold. It's going to get worse. So it is something we had talked about originally about maybe the kids out front holding some signs, maybe the ones that had the designs that the signs ended up being made after. That kind of gets people talking, but being one that we try very hard not to pick up or drop off kids at school. We don't sit in the lines very often, so I guess it's outside of my league. But the whole walking over to get the kids or whatever. But anyways, yeah, it's definitely. I'll be there on Thursday morning. We've got people Friday, and you said Monday, Kate, you got it covered. So we start to get those counts, and then for the next meeting, it could be. I won't be here at the next meeting, but I'll be happy to send the information along. So any other questions on the anti-idling? Okay, perfect. All right, moving on to item F, waste reduction, discussion on littering or adopt a road. I know we haven't really had much movement on this. I do think it's a great idea, and I think it's one that should be brought forward and developed. I know, Garrett, you had looked into it a little bit and handed out some info, but unless anybody else has anything at this point, we'll move on to the next one.
I'll just reiterate, take a look at, I can resend it again when I send the minutes at the end of the week, but just take a look at what other towns have for programs, see what you like, see what you don't like, see what you think would work well in Farmington, so that way we can start getting something together, so I can start working on a draft regulation. I gotta have some direction first of what we're looking for, but take a look at what other towns have first, then we can go from there.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to composting. I know Sam's not here, but Garrett, he sent you some info or an update.
Yeah. So I checked with Sam. He wasn't able to make it. He checked with Tara just for a little update. Tara's been working with the custodian and the company that does the tables. So they order the tables. It usually takes about 4 weeks. She thinks with the holidays it'll probably be 6 weeks. So they're looking at starting around February 1st with the program. She's working with obviously with Sam and with Green Earth. Yeah. Sorry. Which was doing the composting.
Blue
Blue Earth. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
The cans are green.
I know, it should
It's
be
Blue
Green Earth. I like Green Earth.
Well, then the cans should be, well, I guess then they're recycling cans, but so they ordered the table. I've got let me just see. I did have it.
Yeah,
There you go. So we'll have 3 spots for food. There'll be a table here, and then there'll be a sign up above, probably telling you what the bins are for. So they're waiting on the table to be made, and then we'll have it ready for probably for starting the program around February 1st for next year, just with the holidays and everything. So that's where that stands.
any questions? All right, thanks, Garrett. Moving on to other, nothing on the agenda, but Garrett, you mentioned you and Stacy spoke. I guess there's a cleanup day. There's some dates that have been forwarded.
Yeah, so I talked to the Highway and Ground Department. They have the dates for household hazardous waste for next year. Farmington's date will be April 20th, which is obviously a Saturday. And I forwarded that information to Stacy just so she had it. So I think I'm gonna assume, based on Stacy's nodding, that we're looking to do cleanup day on April 20th of next year.
Hopefully I will have a partner this year from the committee.
So
Or maybe a new member who's a partner.
we well, before we get on to that, we have definitely had some quorum issues this year, but we do have a member. But I will say that, you know, having done the cleanup day a little bit the first year, was doing the whole day this past year. We definitely need some participation from the committee. I mean, we're on a green efforts to do this. And to pitch in, especially if we have an event like cleanup day, which is our biggest event we have. And it's definitely nice to see everybody showing up and participating. So Stacy, I will be there to man a booth somewhere. Even though I'm not in the committee, I will be there. I had fun doing it, so
Awesome.
we'll be part of it. I don't know if I could be your team member on the committee going forward, but I will definitely show up the day of. Maybe
I think there's still an opening, Johnny, if you just want to come back.
I think my wife would have I might be sleeping at a different address if I do that. So, but we do have a new member though. Bree's not here today, but Bree Quimby was appointed at the last council meeting and has been sworn in. So hopefully as this gets taken over by the next person in January, that you guys fill all the slots, and you know, I wish everybody the best of luck going forward with it.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you, Johnny.
You.
So
You
what-
run a good meeting.
I try, but anything else for other?
Yeah. So the one thing I want to bring up about the hazardous waste and the town cleanup is it's been my impression is the same people who line up the streets on Monteith Drive for hazardous waste are also the people who would be out on the streets picking up trash. And by having those two events on the same day, draws attention one from the other. And I'm not sure how other people see that, but I know for myself personally, if I had to do farming cleanup on that day, and I had to do hazardous days on that day, I wouldn't be out cleaning up. I would have dropping off my hazardous waste on that day.
So
And
maybe
so
we
I
add a
think
table back at Monteith so that the people dropping off their hazardous waste can then park their car, get their grabbers.
Well, there's no dropping off of litter on Monteith Drive.
We did it at the library before.
Yeah, we used to do
We
it,
just
but
haven't because it was low turnout. And
Yeah.
when I was there, I got way more people asking me if this is what they drop off, whatever it may be. And I'd have to
Right,
drop them up the hill.
But it's not the drop off, is that many people, although we allow people to start picking up on the beginning of April, many people don't start picking up until that day. Because it's
Right.
Farmington Cleanup Day. And
Yep.
people go out on Farmington Cleanup Day and pick up trash. And while they're picking up trash, they're not dropping off their hazardous waste.
I think if you're
And
passionate about it, you can plan to do both. It's a whole day. Personally.
Part of it is also the staffing aspect of that. We already have highway guys working on the hazardous waste day. So it's easy to call them to move a truck or something if we need it dumped or something. So it's more of a logistics thing of we already have people on staff that day, and you're already advertising for household hazardous waste and for the cleanup day. We try not to overload people with weekends, especially when you get to April where we're competing with spring sports and everything like that.
And as a parent who had younger kids in sporting events on Saturdays, it's usually easier for me to say, okay, this one Saturday, I'm going to do multiple things. And every other Saturday I can go back to deal. I mean, I don't know that I would commit 2 Saturdays as if I wasn't someone who was already really committed to do it. It would be, I would choose one or the other. I don't think I would choose both.
So
I would
With that
also
said-
add that with the hazardous days, it's not every time that we have hazardous day pickup that I go with stuff. Like, for me, my family, it's batteries is the biggest thing. And so I may save those for a couple of times, not just one. Sometimes I end up at Simsbury, but I do think that people's attention spans are very limited. And if we try to drag it out too much, I think we might get just things drawn out, just my opinion. I do think that when I saw a lot of the Girl Scout troops or the Tungus group, like they gear up an entire day for it. And it's just, that's kind of the pitch is that come out this day and get it done. And I thought it was pretty successful this past year with that, at least from what I saw down at the firehouse in Unionville. So just my 2 cents.
I'm fine with that. I just wanted to bring up that point for everybody to think about.
And then last thing, John, I knew this past year you had the Lions Club and the bottle collection and all that, and that was fairly last minute. If that's something that you plan to do again or want to do again, I would suggest that we plan it into the marketing materials and on the website ahead of time. Because it seemed like it was, a little bit last minute last time, so we maybe didn't get the overall penetration we really wanted to.
Yes, it was last minute. I just didn't think about it early enough. But I will talk to the people Lions Club now that we have that connection. And they seemed pretty excited about it in terms of the numbers of cans they brought in. And so I will definitely contact them ahead of time. And so let me say that at our next Green Efforts meeting, we'll know.
Yeah. And then the last thing I would say is that with that, it was pretty confusing with the trash bag situation. A lot of stuff came in kind of mixed. I took a lot of cans out of the trash that people brought and kind of threw it in another one, but we were kind of giving people bags and they were the same, and cans will be a less or a smaller bundle. So being able to give someone a larger bag for the trash and maybe something smaller that's designated for the cans might be a little bit better, because I saw a lot of mixing last year. Not that we want to give too many instructions, because like I said, attention spans are limited. But if you give them a smaller one, small, clear, something that you can see, I think that might go a ways as well.
So I think you're exactly right. And both the Lions Club and I recognize that sort of a problem that you're talking about. And I think one of the things that might be, and I'm not sure if this is possible, if we could, instead of ordering all white bags, if we could get like white and black bags and have one color for cans only and one color for regular trash, that might be a way around it. But, both myself as a picker up of trash and as the Lions Club dealing with this, they recognize that problem, and if we could find a way around it, that would be great.
Okay. Anything else on cleanup day?
Just going back, Stacey, to your request for more involvement, are we having more conversation about kind of roles and things that need to be done to lighten your load on an upcoming agenda, or do we want to talk about that now?
I guess maybe it's February meeting with the new chair, and I'll be more prepared at that point.
So,
I didn't
so
want to get lost to the winds is all. So that makes sense. I know it's December, but
so while we're on that topic, so we're not meeting in January because of the town council meetings not lining up, so we won't have our new chair or Board of Ed liaison yet. I did let Stacey know that if we need to have a special meeting in January, or we need to have like a working group meeting of just like 2 or 3 people to do some coordination for cleanup day, that's easy to do. It's just scheduling a Zoom meeting for whatever time it works best for everyone. We can do that in January if we need to do anything before the February meeting, or wants to do anything before the February meeting.
Okay.
All right, any other final thoughts? All right, before we take an adjournment, I just want to say thank you for putting up with me for a couple of years. And I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I probably won't see a lot of you guys before then, so everybody enjoy your time, and hopefully you get a little time off in the process. So thank you very much.
Thanks,
Hey,
Johnny.
Mr. Johnny,
Thank you. Thank you, Johnny, for being our leader for 2 years.
You're very welcome. Thank you. All
thanks,
right.
Johnny.
You're welcome, John. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
bye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. You have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.